Hey, I'm the composer and poet Andrew Lloyd Fry, and this is an introduction to Charlie Parker. So I'm going to talk a little bit about his history, some things about his music that I think are like really stand out and unique, and then we'll touch on 3 album recommendations I have if you're new to his music and want to start exploring. So Charlie Parker was born in Kansas City. I'm from Kansas City, so it's kind of special. He's like grew up like 30 minutes from where I live, which is cool. Let's see, if 1920 something, maybe 23. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact date. A little over 100 years ago. And you know, at the time, jazz is like the thing. You know, he grew up in a culture where jazz is the pop music. And Kansas City especially was, there was a lot happening in Kansas City at that time. So early on, he started playing saxophone. He played in school. A lot of what he did was very self-taught. You know, just most of it's just him figuring out stuff on his own. So early on, he had an experience where he set in with the jazz group. I know Joe Jones was on drums. I can't remember. Was it Count Basie? I can't remember the group. Anyways, he sits in and they play a song in a different, I think he knew the song, but it was in a different key that he wasn't aware of that song in that key. And it was a pretty traumatic experience. I think Joe Jones like threw a cymbal at him or on the floor or something like that. So pretty bad experience. And that experience I think was pretty motivating for him to practice and get better and kind of prove to them that he, you know, is good. So then there was a period of just intense practice. You know, he talked about practicing like 12 hours a day, 10 hours a day, kind of like crazy stuff. So he reemerges. He joins the Jay McShea band. So it's a big band, and does that for a while. Has some trips to New York. Kind of lives there for a while. Comes back to Kansas City. In Kansas City, he meets Dizzy Gillespie. So Dizzy Gillespie is on tour, and they meet, and it's like instant kind of like music bond, and they're kind of exploring a lot of the same ideas and influencing each other. So then at some point Charlie Parker's back in New York, and we have kind of this congregation of players who are playing at Miltons, and it's Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, and Monk. Those are the big 3. There's more involved. And that's kind of thought of as the home of bebop. So a couple things. Let's just talk about what bebop is and what makes it different. So in general, the music was crazy fast. So up until this point, jazz you could put it in like the easy listening category compared to what they were doing. A lot of jazz before that was made for dancing. You know, like high school dance, bring in the jazz big band. So this really separated itself from the dance, like playing for people to dance, and it's really just like playing for people to sit there and listen. So kind of like less function and more, say like higher art form. So that's the first thing. It's just like crazy fast. Like 300 beats per minute is like more the range where it's at. I would say the other big facet is the rhythm. And this is very specific to Charlie Parker. Just the rhythmic phrasing, I would say, is just unprecedented. Before this, in any genre, in any music, the way the rhythm flows, the emphasis on those offbeats, the use of triplets, and not that those things had never been done, but the way he put all of those together and the way bebop put all those together is just very notable. And I would say you could also say harmony and chromaticism So more interesting harmony, the harmony expanded, and more chromaticism. Some of that I think would go back to the seeds of Thelonious Monk, the piano player. So those are, kind of some of the tenets of bebop, which was born, kind of in that time. I would say the other thing is an emphasis on small group. So, big band, it's like a little horn orchestra. And bebop is like 4 or 5. So, trumpet, saxophone, bass drums, piano became the very, very normal thing. So then he was established in New York. So lived the rest of his life in New York. He made his first recordings I think he was around 24. And then he passed away at 35. So it's a pretty short period of time that, he was active recording. So the other, I would say, like, biographical thing about him is constant drug problems. Which obviously shortened his life, and I would say that influence of like, oh, Charlie Parker does heroin, that must be how you play like this. So I would say that pretty negative influence, trickle-down influence from that, which is sad. And it's, just thinking about what he could have done and honestly, multiple jazz musicians, how much music we lost because of their drug addiction is pretty sad. I think at the end of his life, I think he died in 1955, he was feeling kind of like that itch to move on to something else. And I think he felt like he had exhausted what had been done. And it's just like, man, what would he have done next? Like, what would he have done with modal? Like, just to hear him on that, like, that would have been crazy. Or going into the avant-garde. And so that 10-year period, I would say there's not much change in style, in kind of like what types of songs he was using to improvise on. There's not a big change. Now, I will say what does change is the recording quality. So from 45 to 55, in those early ones, you're hearing some of that kind of early recording static, and by his later recordings, those are a bit better towards the end of his life. Okay, so let's talk about some recordings. So the first one, this is the complete Savoy recordings. This came out, I think, at his centennial, and I like it. It's 10 inches instead of 12, which is not my preference, but this is still like it. Still the one I have. I would say this is my favorite music of his complete Savoy. That's not everyone's opinion. He's pretty young in this, and I just feel like it's the best. I think I like the tracks from this more than others. He's often playing with Miles, which is pretty cool. So this record I would say, like, if someone wants to know what jazz is, this would be one of the definitive albums, I would say. And it's like, I feel like so much of what happened after was born here. It's like you're getting down to like the DNA of jazz, or like the essence of what it is with this. Let's see, is there anything else I want to say on this? Coco is on this, which is a lot of people consider that his best recording. That was one Miles couldn't play the head, or couldn't play it well, so Dizzy Gillespie was there, and Dizzy plays the head with him. Anything else you want to say about that? I don't think so. So check this out. This is like essential. Really good. Okay, next. So Some people like this more than the Savoy. This is the complete dial. Some of the recordings, let's see, what do I want to say about this? So probably personally do not like the tracks listing as much. I feel like the Savoy just gets like all the classics, and this doesn't. J.J. Johnson plays on some of them, trombone. Probably just like not my personal preference. Dizzy plays on some, Miles plays on some. So, the other thing, there's a couple vocal pieces on this, which is, again, just like not my personal preference. This is good. So some people say this is their favorite. He was in not Colorado. He was in California. So he's like a different label because he was in California. And then he came back to New York, and they came out to New York to get some more recordings. Both of these were not like, hey, I'm recording an album. It was much more like I'm recording singles or a couple songs. And then later they got, compiled together. Okay, last one. Bird and Diz. I think this is just, look at that. Great cover. So a couple things about this. It's cool, them being together. And two of the fathers of bebop. Monk is on it, so it's like the total like bebop fatherhood. It's unfortunate that, who's the drummer on this? It doesn't say on the back. So unfortunately, it's not Max Roach, which is, it would have been a better album. I can't remember the name of the drummer. I think Norman Granz wanted an interracial group, so we got a white drummer. And he's a little bit more of a swing drummer, like hitting the bass forward to the floor on the bass. It's not like bad. It's just like, man, this would have been better if they got Max Roach. Art Blakey, any of those would have been better. So this one, there's a lot of repeats. It's like, here's take one, take two. Sometimes take one, take two, take three. And again, that goes back to this just wasn't, like, hey, we're recording an album. It's like we're recording songs and then later we're putting it together. It's cool. This one's the only time where like Charlie Parker's playing with the trumpet who's like right there with him. When he's playing with Miles, it's like there's Charlie Parker doing his like fireworks thing, and then there's Miles who's like, I like Miles, but he's not like playing at that caliber if we're just talking about like speed and rhythm, stuff like that. This one, it's like head to head, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie. So that's pretty special. The other just like little tidbit about this picture is cropped. So I've seen like the full picture. And John Coltrane is in the background of this picture. So like he's like, over here. And I'm pretty sure at the time he was just in Dizzy Gillespie's big band. So this picture just feels like really special because, you can't see him, but Coltrane's there. So that's pretty cool. All right. Well, I hope you enjoy listening to that incredible, fast, exciting music. And I'll plan on seeing you next time.